Drums are kind of the center point of most mixes, and how loud and exciting your drums feel can often determine how loud and exciting your mix feels. In today's video, I want to show you a little trick that helps you get louder, more exciting sounding drums without actually making them louder, which is a very powerful tool if you're trying to keep proper headroom in your mix. Let's go and jump in. So the tool we're focusing on here has to do with saturation. My specific example is using tape saturation, but you could use any saturator. All saturation has a little bit of a different sound, so it's kind of about matching the right saturation for the sound that you're going after. But this is Kramer tape from Waves. You could use Abbey Road saturator from Waves. You could use any of the UAD plugins or Logic's built-in Chroma Glow or Soft Tube's saturation knob, which is free and sounds really awesome. So it doesn't really matter what it is. You just want to make sure that you're listening to it, make sure that you like the sound that it is giving you. I'm also going to be demonstrating this on live recorded drums, but this trick works just as well on virtual drums. It doesn't really matter where the drums come from as long as you're being intentional about how you use it and you're trusting your ears. Okay, so what I want to do in this video is kind of explain the sound that we're hearing, but then I want to show you a little bit of the science. We're going to walk through kind of what's actually happening behind the scenes, what the saturation is doing to our audio, so you can understand it and then listen for it again. First up, let's just listen to it off and then on, listen to how it sounds, and watch the overall peak level to note that it's not actually any louder when it's engaged. So we'll start with it off and then we'll turn it on. And then on, same section. Notice that the peak level was actually lower for that one, right? And let's listen to it one last time. I'm just going to have off and then on and then off and then on quickly while we're listening to the audio. So off. Higher peak level, lower perceived volume. Back off. Back on. Right? So it feels louder, it feels more exciting, we hear the drums a little bit better, everything about it just feels heightened from where it is without this saturation on. So let's talk about why that is. Let's break it down kind of in two parts, the loudness part and then also the exciting part. And let's start with the exciting part. What I've done here is I've created a track here that just has a test oscillator that's just creating a sine wave at 100 hertz. So if we look at this on an EQ, we just see a perfect sound right at 100 hertz. When I add the exact same saturation on here, this tape saturation from Waves, we are literally adding harmonic content to that sine wave. So without the saturation, we just have a pure sine wave, just the tone at 100. Add it in, and we get this extra harmonic content. So we're literally adding in harmonics. We are kind of filling out the sound a little bit, making it more exciting, making it fuller. Saturation fills in the gaps of our audio in a really cool way, and it's the biggest thing that we lose in the digital recording age. But luckily, we can bring it into our recordings with tools like this tape saturation or Chroma Glow or saturation knob. It doesn't really matter what it is. You can bring that type of flavor into your digital recordings with these tools. So that's the exciting part. Now, the loudness part has to do with the way it shaves off the transients. So if we look at the drums with no tape, I just bounce them in place here. You'll see that these are pretty spiky waveforms here. You see how spiky that is? And then the actual sustain is lower. When we add in the saturation, it kind of rounds the transients. They still feel punchy. What's cool about saturation compared to compression is you're not shaping the transients. It's kind of just rounding it depending on the sound of the saturation that you're using, but you still have the punch of it. So it still has that punch, but it's rolled off a little bit. And then you also get more of the sustain, and part of that is that extra harmonic content, but part of it is just the nature of rounding off that transient and bringing up the level of everything else. So our entire drums feel a little bit bigger, a little bit fuller, a little bit fatter, but the actual spikiness is just tamed a little bit. So we can have a peak level, a peak volume that's actually lower, while having a louder overall perceived volume. So if we go back again, just listen. Now that you have those two things in mind, we're listening for that extra harmonic content, and we're listening to how the transients are rolled off while still containing basically the same attack and release for the most part. Let's listen now with the Kramer tape off, and then I'll engage it. And remember, you can use any saturation you want for this. Check this out. So off, add it on. It almost feels punchier, actually. It's pretty cool, right? And there's something about that extra weight that it gives, that the kick all of a sudden is cutting through a little bit more. And then because we're bringing up the body of the drums a little bit more, it's making the overall thing just feel fatter, bigger, fuller. And it's just with this one tool. We're affecting the tone, the dynamics, the peak, all of that stuff with one tool, saturation. Now, saturation can absolutely squash your transients, so you have to be careful. You have to trust your ears. You have to use it discerningly. Sometimes you want to blow it out. Sometimes you just want to use it really subtly. Trust your ears, trust your judgment, try different tools to lend this. I'm really enjoying this Kramer tape saturation on this specific drum example. We're going for kind of this raw, almost nasty drum sound. I think it sounds great. It's doing exactly what I want it to do. It's giving that fatness, it's giving that full rawness. It's perfect. So trust your ears, trust your judgment. But what I really want to highlight, while this is a very powerful tool, one, understanding this tool, and two, using this tool is almost impossible if you don't really understand mixing and you aren't already getting a good mix otherwise. This is one piece of the puzzle, but I don't even include this in my main 6 steps to mixing. And if you don't already have it, I want to give you something totally free that's going to help you with your mixes. If you're watching this, I'm guessing in general, you want to get better mixes. Put together something completely free to help you out. It's my 6-step checklist to a pro mix, and it just goes through 6 steps that all professional mixes have and how to do it specifically inside Logic. If you don't already have it, be sure to grab it for free from the link in the description below. It's really going to help you out. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Have you been using saturation in your mixes? Do you have any favorite saturation tools? Let me know down in the comments below. If this video was helpful, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week with another video.
One thing at a time, I can